A long and illustrious history. Early Britain. The first people to live in Britain were hunter-gatherers in what we call the Stone Age. For much of the Stone Age, Britain was connected into continent by a land bridge. People came and went, following the herds of deer and horses which they hunted. Britain only became permanently separated from the continent by the Channel about 10,000 years ago. The first farmers arrived in Britain 6,000 years ago. The ancestors of these first farmers probably came from Southeast Europe. These people built tombs, monuments on the land. One of these monuments, Stonehenge, will still stand in what is now the English country of Wiltshire. Stonehenge was probably a special gathering place for seasonal ceremonies. Other Stone Age sites have also survived. Scarabray on Orkney of the north coast of Scotland is the best preserved historic village in northern Europe and has helped archaeologists to understand more about how people lived near the end of the Stone Age. Around 4,000 years ago, people learned to make bronze. We call the period the Bronze Age. People lived in roundhouses and buried their dead in tombs called round barrows. The people of Bronze Age were accomplished metal workers who made many beautiful objects in bronze and gold, including tools, ornaments, and weapons. The Bronze Age was followed by the Iron Age, when people learned how to make weapons and tools out of iron. People still lived in roundhouses, grouped together into large settlements, and sometimes defended sites called hill forts. A very impressive hill fort can still be seen today at Maiden Castle in the English country of Dorset. Most people were farmers, craft workers, or warriors. The language they spoke was part of Celtic language family. Similar languages were spoken across Europe in the Iron Age, and related languages are still spoken today in some parts of Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. The people of the Iron Age has a sophisticated culture and economy. They made the first coins to be minted by Britain. Some inscribed with the names of Iron Age kings. This mark is beginnings of British history. The Romans. Julius Caesar led a Roman invasion of Britain in 55 BC. This was unsuccessful and for nearly 100 years, Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. In AD 43, the Emperor Claudius led the Roman army in a new invasion. This time there were resistance occupying almost all of Britain. One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudica, the queen of Iceni, in what is now eastern England. She is still remembered today, and there is a statue of her in Westminster Bridge in London near the Houses of Parliament. Areas of what is now Scotland were never whenever conquered by the Romans, and what is the Emperor Hadrian built a wall in the north of England to keep out the Picts, ancestors of the Scottish people, including the forts of Hastings and Fidolanda can be still seen. It is a popular area for walkers and is a UNESCO United Nations educational, scientific and cultural organism World Heritage Site. The Romans remained in Britain for 50 or 400 years. They built roads and public buildings, created a structure of law, and introduced new plants and animals. It was during the 3rd and 4th centuries AD that its first Christian communities began to appear in London, which is also called Britain. The Anglo-Saxons. The Roman army left Britain in AD 410 to defend other parts of the Roman Empire and never returned because Britain was again invaded by tribes of Northern Europe, the Jutes and the Angles and the Saxons. The language they spoke are the basis of modern-day English. Battles were fought against these invaders, but by about AD 600 AD, Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were established in Britain. These kingdoms were mainly in what is now England. The burial place of one of the kings was at Sutton Hoo in modern Suffolk. This king was buried with treasure and armor and all placed in a ship where was the covered by mound of earth. Parts of west of Britain, including much was what is now Wales, and Scotland remained free of Anglo-Saxon rule. The Anglo-Saxons were not Christians when they first came to Britain, but during this period, missionaries came to Britain to preach about Christianity. Missionaries from Ireland spread the religion in North. The most famous of these were St. Patrick, who would become the patron saint of Ireland, and St. Columba, who founded a monastery on the island of Lona, off the coast of what is now Scotland. St. Augustine led missionaries from Rome who spread Christianity in the south. St. Augustine became the first Archbishop of Canterbury